Imagine a machine so advanced, so complex, that its very existence shatters the timeline of human ingenuity. A mechanical device capable of predicting the movements of the planets, timing sacred festivals, and calculating eclipses for more than a century into the future. This was an analog computer built not with vacuum tubes or circuits, but with wheels and gears of bronze. This technology, historians agree, should not have been seen again for another 2,000 years. What we're talking about is the Antikythera Mechanism, half a machine that survived 2,000 years lost to the sea, and a discovery so shocking it continues to terrify and reshape our understanding of the ancient Greek world. The story begins not in a laboratory or an observatory, but on the Aegean Sea in the spring of 1900. The waters were calm, but storms were never far off. A crew of sponge divers working under Captain Dimitrios Kandos from the island of Symi were forced to anchor near a small rocky island situated between Crete and the Peloponnese, called Antikythera. Rather than wait for the weather to clear entirely, they decided to dive. Kandos sent down a young diver named Elias Stadiatus, dressed in the heavy canvas suit and copper helmet standard for the time. Stadiatus dropped 150 feet to the seabed. What he saw there made his blood run cold. The view was filled with tangled, twisted shapes that he mistook for bodies, a mass grave. Terrified, he yanked his signal line and shot back to the surface. But these were not corpses. They were statues, bronze figures, frozen mid-stride, toppled in the wreck of an ancient ship. When Captain Kondos descended himself, he surfaced with the proof: a bronze arm, green with centuries of corrosion. That single relic marked the beginning of the very first organized underwater excavation in Greek waters. Over the next year, the Greek Navy joined the divers, recovering a stunning haul of marble statues, fine glassware, coins, and countless artifacts. This was a treasure trove, a maritime time capsule dating back to the first half of the 1st century BCE. The ship was likely traveling from east to west, perhaps heading to Rome. In 1901, the astonishing cargo arrived at the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. Among the classical bounty sat something utterly unimpressive, an indistinguishable lump of heavily corroded bronze and rotted wood, dismissed as nothing more than debris. This unassuming lump sat untouched for 8 months. Its technological significance was so far beyond the established limits of ancient engineering that researchers simply overlooked it.
The moment of recognition finally came on May 17, 1902. Museum scholar Valerios Stais spotted something extraordinary peeking through the crust of corrosion. It was a bronze gear with teeth. These were not the crude mechanical gears you might find in a simple windmill. These were precision gears with teeth only about a millimeter long. The discovery was shocking. This observation implied a level of mechanical precision previously unknown from antiquity. This lump was the world's oldest known analog computer. It opened the door to one of the greatest puzzles in archaeology. The mechanism, now housed in Athens, dates to the Hellenistic period, specifically to the 2nd century BC, making it older than the wreck itself. Today, only 82 fragments survive, about a third of the original device. Yet even in ruin, those pieces preserve 30 interlocking bronze gears. The machine's initial identification was closer to a hand-powered orrery. The initial reaction to the mechanism was confusion and heated academic dispute. Some thought it was a navigation instrument. Others suggested a geared astrolabe. But the true identity was far more profound. The first researcher to make significant progress was the German philologist, emphasis, Albert Rehm. In 1905, Rehm looked closely at Fragment C, one of the main surviving pieces. Beneath the grime, he noticed faint, hard-to-read inscriptions. He deciphered the name of an Egyptian month written in Greek and identified divisions that were clearly day markers. Rehm inferred there must have been a zodiac dial. Crucially, in his unpublished research notebooks, Rehm documented key numbers, emphasis, 19 and 76. These numbers pointed to the heart of ancient astronomy. Let's establish the foundational astronomical cycles encoded in this device. First, slow, the Metonic cycle. Named after Meton of Athens, this 19-year period, which originated in Babylonian astronomy, represents the time after which the phases of the moon repeat on the same day of the solar year. It consists of exactly 235 lunar months, or lunations. This cycle is critical for synchronizing lunar months with the solar year. The back of the mechanism included a large upper dial, a spiral that wound 5 times around, marking off these 235 lunar months. Second, slow, the Callippic cycle. This 76-year cycle, 4 slow Metonic cycles with 1 day removed, was a refinement designed to tighten the long-term accuracy of the calendar. Third, slow, the Saros cycle. This cycle, spanning 223 synodic months, about 18 years and 11 days, is famous for predicting the recurrence of solar and lunar eclipses. This predictive capability was of immense scientific and civic value. Rehm realized that the mechanism was an astronomical calculating machine. In his notebooks, he wrote phrases like epicycle and eccentric in turning. He proposed the utterly shocking idea that the device might use emphasis, epicyclic gearing. Unlike conventional clocks, where gears turn on fixed axles, epicyclic gearing mounts a bearing on another gear, so the gear itself turns while its axle orbits. This is an advanced form of gearing that one would not expect to see until the Middle Ages. Though he got the mechanics wrong, his ideas were extraordinarily prescient.
The mantle then passed to Derek de Solla Price in the 1950s. Price, through persistent work, published a famous article in 1959, suggesting the mechanism was like a great astronomical clock and probably included a sophisticated assembly of gears, possibly a differential gear system. In the 1970s, Price teamed up with Greek radiologist Charalambos Karalambos to carry out the first detailed X-rays. To their astonishment, they found 27 gears inside the main fragment. They realized that to understand the machine, they had to count the teeth. The gears were often partial, requiring careful estimation. Price famously insisted that one large gear had 127 teeth, contradicting the 128-tooth estimate of the Karalambos family. Price was correct. Why does a single tooth count matter? Because 127 is half of 254, the number of sidereal months in a 19-year Metonic cycle. Price had found Rehm's Metonic cycle encoded in the physical gears. Price correctly mapped out the basic architecture, a simpy box turned by a crank, with a dial at the front and a twin dial system at the back. However, his initial reconstruction of the gearing, which included a complex differential system, was later shown to be fundamentally incorrect. Yet his work defined Antikythera research for a generation. For decades, researchers were limited by the ambiguity of two-dimensional X-rays and the severe corrosion that masked the inscriptions. The mechanism needed a technological leap. That leap came in 2005. when a joint team from Britain and Greece brought cutting-edge imaging equipment into the National Archaeological Museum in Athens. Two key technologies were deployed. First, a 12-ton computed tomography, or CT scanner, nicknamed the Blade Runner, which blasted high-energy X-rays through the bronze fragments from all angles, creating cross-sections that could be stacked into a highly detailed 3D image of the mechanism for the very first time. Second, a reflectance imaging system from Hewlett-Packard, which allowed researchers to virtually relight the surface. This technique helped pull out faint scratches and inscriptions invisible to the naked eye. Over the course of 2 weeks, the team revealed not only the hidden gears, but also thousands of text characters engraved on the plates. For the first time since the wreck, the machine itself spoke again through its own inscriptions. Researchers found that the X-rays revealed text inside the fragments, completely invisible from the surface, hidden for 2,000 years. Price had found about 1,000 characters. The new team read between 3,000 and 4,000. This influx of data was staggering. Crucially, in 2018, a University College London, or UCL team, reprocessed the raw data, filling in missing scan slices and correcting distortions, which sharpened new letters and confirmed contested readings. A single Greek character on these plates could change the interpretation of a cycle or flip the meaning of a prediction. To aid this restoration, artificial intelligence was even brought to bear. A model called Ithaca, created by DeepMind, helped restore broken Greek inscriptions. When used alongside human historians, this AI model raised accuracy in predicting missing letters from about 25% to more than 70%. The numbers carved on the cover plates were the very targets the missing front half had to hit. The rear face, which survived best, holds the clearest instructions. The lower half features a spiral dial marking the Saros cycle of 223 lunar months. Nested inside that is a smaller dial tracking the Exiligmos, a 54-year triple Saros cycle that corrected the awkward remainder of 8 hours in each cycle, ensuring precise eclipse timing. The inscriptions on the Saros spiral proved how practical the machine was. Each cell that might contain an eclipse carried a small Greek glyph. A letter signaled whether the event was lunar or solar. Sigma for Selene, the moon, or Eta for Helios, the sun, a symbol resembling an anchor. Actually, a ligature of omega and rho meant hour and indicated the time of the eclipse. Phrases like "of the day" or "of the night" warned whether an eclipse would be visible from Greece. Beneath each glyph, an index letter pointed to explanatory text, describing details like the direction the shadow would come from, how much of the sun or moon would be covered, and even the expected color cues. Imagine a user turning the crank, seeing the dial flag an eclipse, and then reading off the type, timing, and a full description. The mechanism's true brilliance lies in its ability to translate the abstract mathematics of Hellenistic astronomy into precise, predictable mechanical motion. The new X-ray data allowed researchers like Tony Freeth and Michael Wright to solve the gear puzzles left by Price. The key to the device's predictive power lies in two engineering components that were not believed to have been invented until more than a millennium later. Ancient Greek astronomers, following the work of Hipparchus, who lived from 190 to 120 BC, knew the moon's speed was non-uniform, sometimes appearing faster, sometimes slower, due to its elliptical orbit. Simply using circular gears would only model mean, uniform motion. To account for this, the mechanism employs an ingenious solution, epicyclic gearing, combined with a slot and pin mechanism. Researcher Michael Wright made the acute observation that a pin on one gear, K1, engaged with a slot on another gear, K2. Crucially,
The gears turn on slightly eccentric axes, only about a millimeter apart. As the pin gear rotates at a constant rate, the slotted gear's rotation varies slightly, sometimes falling behind, sometimes moving ahead. This mechanical arrangement geometrically induces the variable motion required to model the complex epicyclic theory of the Moon. The Saros drive, gear E3, was found to rotate at a very specific slow rate. This rotation models the precession of the lunar orbit's lines of apses, the slow rotation of the axis that joins the Moon's closest and furthest points from Earth. By mounting the pin and slot device on the slow-moving Saros drive, the mechanism achieved the required geometry to mechanically implement Hipparchus's theory, calculating not just mean values, but the subtle intricacies of orbital mechanics. It is a work of absolute genius.
The Antikythera Mechanism is the oldest known device to incorporate a differential gear assembly. This crucial gear train receives two angular velocity inputs, the calculated positions of the Sun and the Moon, and mechanically calculates the difference between them. Why? Because the difference in speed between the Moon's sidereal position and the Sun's position produces the Moon's phase cycle, the lunar month. The output of the sophisticated lunar train, the variable sidereal month, ran through the center of the device toward the front dial. On the end of this output was a small device with just two little gears, including an epicyclic crown gear. This compact assembly was a differential device that calculated the difference between the Moon's rotation and the Sun's annual rotation to produce the phase cycle. This technological mastery, the accurate modeling of anomalous motion, and the differential gear places the mechanism in the realm of true precision computing. The sheer density of parts packed into the original shoebox-sized wooden case demonstrates a mastery of mechanical engineering that should have been impossible for the era. Comparable geared mechanisms would not reappear in Europe until the mechanical clocks of the 13th century, almost 1,000 years later. The back of the machine whispered of eclipses and calendars, but the front was largely gone, leaving only fragments of the cover plates. However, those covers were inscribed with gold. The inscriptions are not poetic riddles. They are lists of exact planetary relations, the required mathematical periods the missing gear trains had to reproduce. The front had to satisfy three hard constraints at once. It had to fit the physical framework, reproduce the exact integer period ratios dictated by the inscriptions for Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn, and allow all the shafts and tubes to pass through the middle without colliding. The UCL Antikythera research team's 2021 model unveiled a full front-side architecture that adhered to these rules. At the heart of this design sits a small dome representing Earth. The mechanism's face, confirmed by inscriptions discovered in 2016, displayed 9 things simultaneously: the Moon, the lunar nodes, Mercury, Venus, the Sun, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and the calendar date. The display was arranged as concentric rings, matching the user manual text. This arrangement was crucial, as rings reduce parallax problems caused by trying to read multiple hands layered on top of each other. Let's walk through what the Greeks actually saw.
First, Earth and Moon. Around the central Earth dome, a pointer showed the Moon's position through the zodiac signs. Beside this pointer was a marble-sized ball, half painted black and half white, which turned day by day to show the Moon's current phase. Second, the Sun. The Sun was marked by a golden bead with its own pointer. As the bead glided around the zodiac ring, its position immediately indicated the season, marking the solstices and equinoxes. Third, the planets. 6 slim rings were stacked one after the other, each carrying a planet: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. Each planet was represented by a bead fixed to its ring. The gear trains for these planets were incredibly lean, often sharing key wheels to fit within the cramped space. 0.38 inches deep. The mechanism used 7-gear epicyclic sets for the superior planets and 5-gear trains with pin and slot followers for the inner planets, Mercury and Venus, to simulate their characteristic stop-and-go or irregular motion. Fourth, the dragon hand, a special, long, serpent-like pointer called the dragon hand tracked the lunar nodes, the 2 points where the moon's orbit crosses the sun's path. When the sun's bead and the dragon hand slid together, the machine flagged that an eclipse season had arrived. Ancient astronomers often described eclipses as a dragon swallowing the sun. Fifth, the calendar and parapegma. Outside the moving rings sat the fixed zodiac circle and the calendar ring. Tiny index letters scattered along the zodiac matched a list of seasonal sky events called a parapegma, mounted on panels above and below the main dial. These events, like the first dawn rising of a star or the last evening setting of a constellation, were essential for farmers, sailors, and travelers. To use the device, the user would turn the handle to the day they desired. In one glance, the dial provided the sun's place, the moon's phase, the planetary positions, the season's stellar events, and any upcoming eclipses. The designers used color and material cues: golden for the sun, deep blue for Venus, turquoise for Mercury, to make the 9 readouts easy to track. This functioning model confirms that the ancient Greeks possessed the numerical theory and the manufacturing ability not just to describe the cosmos geometrically, but to model it physically.
The existence of the Antikythera Mechanism fundamentally reshaped the understanding of Hellenistic technological prowess. It was a technology that should not exist.
Perhaps the most enduring question is the historical silence that followed this mechanical marvel. Why did this technology, which demonstrated a level of complexity achieved again only in 13th century Europe, disappear for over 1,000 years? The most probable explanation is that the mechanism was the product of a highly specialized, fragile technological tradition. The necessary convergence of advanced theoretical astronomy, specialized metallurgical skills, and elite academic centers, Syracuse, Rhodes, was highly concentrated. The device was not a widespread utility technology. As centralized Hellenistic intellectual centers declined under Roman influence, which generally favored utilitarian engineering over abstract kinematic cosmology, the specialized artisans lacked the infrastructure to transmit their specific skills effectively. The knowledge was lost. The Antikythera Mechanism fundamentally revises history. It was not conceived as a calculating machine in the modern sense, but as a mechanical cosmos, a profound demonstration device built by great scientists of vision who realized they could model the entire universe using bronze wheels. It proves the ancient Greeks had achieved a conceptual threshold far beyond what was previously credited, establishing Hellenistic mechanicians as the conceptual forerunners of modern computational and timekeeping technology. This spectacular device, this ancient Greek AI, continues to challenge all our preconceptions about the classical world. Thank you for watching this deep dive into the blueprint for a mechanical cosmos. If you want more unbelievable stories and hidden histories, check out the videos popping up on screen now for more beyond known history.